Hello everyone, I'd like you to meet my baby. His name is Thomas and we call him baby Tommy. He was born February 15th, 4:02 a.m. I really thought he was going to be a Valentine's Day baby, but yeah, let's get into the birth story. I made a coffee and it's almost 6 p.m. You know, it's the weekend. Cheers! Just kidding. Whew, I'm like nervous. I don't know why, because I just feel like this is such a special video and I just want it to be perfect, but I just know it'll never be perfect and it's just, it is what it is. So, whew, okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know, am I even like posting it? I don't even consider myself a YouTuber at this point because I literally like haven't posted in the past year. I tried filming this video 4 times, you guys, and something always went wrong. The very first time I filmed this video was 2 weeks after I had Tommy, and I just feel like I was still in that postpartum haze where I missed out a lot of little details. So I have my notes here. I have all the little details written down. Let's begin with my birth story. So I was due February 9th, 2023, and I ended up being 5 days overdue. I had a pretty good pregnancy, like nothing too crazy, and my birth plan was get the epidural and go into labor naturally. I knew that I didn't want to do a natural birth just because that just didn't interest me. I already had like really bad cramps to start off with, and I just can't, like I'm bedridden when I literally I'm having cramps and stuff like that. So like to me, I was like, that just does not sound something that I want to do. Like I am all for the epidural. I just thought, hey, if I come to the hospital and I'm 9 centimeters dilated, let's just do it naturally, you know. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's February 9th, my due date comes around and I'm not feeling anything. I feel like a total normal pregnant person. Don't feel like labor is near. He hasn't dropped. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna be pregnant for a while. Like I only signed up for 40 weeks, but like we're at 40 weeks and I don't feel labor is coming anytime soon. I tried everything, raspberry leaf tea, the walks, the everything. Like we tried it all and I came to the conclusion that your baby will come when it's ready. So I was due February 9th and 3 days later on a Sunday, 4 in the morning, I woke up to period like cramps. I was kind of worried about once things were to start up, like it was gonna happen fast. My biggest fear was not making it to the hospital on time just because my mom had really fast labors as well as my sister, so I just assumed that that was gonna be my case too. So the moment I started feeling some kind of contractions or discomfort, automatically I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have this baby, especially since I was 3 days overdue at that time. I woke up my husband, he went, took a shower, literally we put our hospital bags in the car, everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, babe, like I was kind of like on the yoga ball, like literally like doing all my movements. And 2 hours later, they slowed down and then they completely stopped and I just went back to bed 7 in the morning and woke up feeling totally normal, just went about our day. This was like a Monday. That following night, this was at 3 in the morning and I already have that sense of cramping. I go to the bathroom because you guys know pregnant women, you just wake up a bazillion times a night to go pee. And then this is when I noticed blood and this is when I already knew this was early labor. I was literally like, oh my gosh, this is really happening because it just felt like forever. You know, when you're overdue, I know all the overdue mamas out there, like you just know, like when you're overdue, you just feel like time is moving so slow. So the fact that I was seeing some kind of signs of labor, I was getting so excited. I wasn't even scared, nothing. I was just super excited. My husband was still sleeping because I just knew we needed rest. We didn't know what the day held. I ended up having a little power nap, but then again, 7 in the morning, okay, they started picking up again. The pain, it just really feels like period cramps. Like that's really what it feels like. It just feels like this tightening of the uterus. And it's something you can't control. It was really uncomfortable, but it was still bearable, so I was still like laboring at home for as much as possible. My contractions were still very sporadic throughout the day. I would say they were like anywhere from 10 minutes to 15 minutes apart, but I was definitely timing them and they were about a minute long, a minute 30 seconds, things like that. So it was very, very doable. So this was early morning Valentine's Day. I'm laboring I'm just like getting really uncomfortable, and I'm like, okay, this is happening today. This is literally happening today. We're gonna have a baby today. I'm in bed. My husband like comes up to me. He's like, hey Tanya, I'm gonna go to the grocery store. Do you want anything? No, I don't want anything, but can you please like be quick because I'm having contractions. Like, why are you going to the store? He like comes back with Valentine's Day flowers and a balloon, which is actually thought was like so cute. I remember also like laboring in the bathtub, which I mean, it felt kind of nice, but I don't know, like for me, when I'm feeling a lot of discomfort, it's really hard for me to like endure the pain. Like I just like want my medication, and I ended up trying to nap again. This was around like 3 p.m. so I was already laboring all morning, and this is afternoon. I still will never forget this contraction. Like I just will never in my life forget it. I was laying in bed on my side, and I remember I was like, okay, it's coming again, like this contraction, I'm starting to feel it. So I was laying sideways on the bed, and I ended up like lifting my body to like get comfortable and like breathe through this next contraction that I was having, and it had such a hold. I didn't have back labor, but it was just this really intense stabbing pain, and it just like gets a hold of your uterus. I don't know how to describe it, you guys. It's just like really intense. It had me on all fours. Like I was on the floor in my room, and I was like, oh, that truly is what a contract, like a real contraction feels like. Like it had me shook. Like I got a little scared after, because I was like, ooh, this is like intense. And it was like 3 minutes long. After that, I was like, we're not playing any game. Babe, we need to go to the hospital right now. We just got up and we left. The car ride literally felt like, ooh, it felt like eternity. I couldn't talk at this point. My husband called the midwives for me, and they were like, hey, we're on our way. Just so you guys know, when you get to the hospital, you still have to fill out paperwork. Like you still have to check in. So I like walk up to the front desk. I'm like filling out my paperwork as fast as I can. The lady by the desk, she's like trying to help me. She sees that I'm in a lot of pain. I'm literally crying. Like I have tears down my face. I'm in a lot of pain, you guys. That like my husband, poor guy, like I feel like he didn't even know how he could help me, because I truly just had zero control over the pain. Which, I mean, I probably should have prepared more, but like at the same time, I just did not know what to expect. And then my triage nurse comes in. She's like, okay, Tanya, if you're able to like stand up, like, and we'll make our way over to the triage room and we'll get you all checked in. The moment I stood up, my water just goes. I was like, well, I either peed my pants or my water just broke. My husband was helping me change into the gown. I remember having my eyes closed the entire time, just because I was really trying to focus on these contractions. They were back to back. At this point, like they were like one after the other. The nurses were asking me how far along I was, like dilated. I never got my membrane swept or anything, so I didn't know. They were assuming I was like 8 centimeters dilated just by how much my body was responding to the pain. I had the labor shakes. I couldn't talk through my contractions. My husband, for one of the moments, he was like, hey babe, do you still want to try to do natural? Because I asked him, I was like, maybe I can try to do natural, you know? I was like, no. I was like, have them get me that epidural as soon as possible, please. He's like, okay. They were guessing that I was 8 centimeters dilated, but I, in fact, was 4 centimeters dilated. The baby's head was still really high up, so he didn't drop. I actually never got the urge to go number 2. You know, it's like when the baby's really low, you have like that urge to like push. I never had that urge, so you can just tell like he was still really high up. They said E1, so it's like E1, 0, and then 1, and then that's like, yeah, so he was still pretty up there. And they did mention that my cervix was pretty soft, so they were like, okay, like they gave me hope. You know, they gave me hope that things were gonna speed up quickly. But then I was like, I remember I was like, am I gonna have time for that epidural? My nurse was like, oh honey, we will make time for you to have that epidural. She's like, it's never too late. So that just gave me a lot of like peace to know that I had time to get the epidural. In order to get the epidural, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they have to go through testing to see if you're even eligible. So that was kind of interesting. So we had to like wait for the things to get back, that everything was approved, yada yada. In this moment, this nurse she was like checking my blood pressure or something like that. Like she was doing something. It was just me, my husband, and this nurse. And all of a sudden on the monitor, she just hears like Tommy's heart rate just like do do do. She was like, we're gonna have to rotate you. Baby's heartbeat is really low. So she's rotating me, and then she was like, give me 1 second. She runs out to the hallway. She's like, can I get some help here? And then there's like nurses that just flood the triage room, and they're like really fast with like trying to get this baby's heart rate up. Turns out Tommy's heart rate was really low for like 7 minutes. So his body was under a lot of stress even from that very moment. Thankfully, they were able to get it back up again. It regulated. This moment, they took me up to our labor room. Shortly after, we had the anesthesiologist come in. You guys, the epidural, best epidural of my freaking life. I will get the epidural with every single baby. This guy, he comes in super chill. He has his things. Okay, after this contraction, quickly puts it in. You barely feel anything. It's like a little pinch, and it happens so fast. I had the best epidural ever because I could still like move my legs, and I was in all the labor positions, everything. Like I was comfortable. I could feel my legs. Like I just couldn't feel any pain or contraction. So it was literally the best experience ever. It brought me so much peace. It was great. Highly recommend. With epidural, you do have to get a catheter though, which I mean, like you don't feel it, but it is kind of annoying that you're bedridden. But to be honest with you, like I don't even care. Like I would much rather just chill on the hospital bed and just wait to have this baby than like going through like the contractions and labor. Like it's just like does not sound fun to me at all. So to me, like it was a 10 out of 10 experience. Like I loved it. At this moment, they were like, okay, perfect. Epidural is in. Now we just wait till you're 10 centimeters. They're like, yeah, you're gonna have a Valentine's Day baby. Like there were so many pregos that were in the hospital on Valentine's Day. I think they said that all the rooms were like booked out because everybody was having a Valentine's Day baby. Anyways, so I was like, yay, like let's do this. Like I was feeling so good. Shortly after, Tommy's heart rate ends up dropping again. And this happened more than maybe three, I think it happened 3 times. After his heart rate was dropping, they were really concerned that he was under a lot of stress, which he was. His head was at a tilt. So it wasn't like the perfect birthing position for him. So like my body was trying to squeeze him out, but he was stuck. So like he couldn't get out. So I think it made me so upset because I was just like, what can I do to help like him, you know? And so I was using the peanut ball. I was in like the squat labor position. I had like that labor bar. We were literally trying everything. And you know, it just was not like his heart rate would dip. They would get it back up. And then I remember shortly after we had a surgeon walk in and he introduced himself and he was like, hey, like, just by how things are going, we really might have to consider doing an emergency C-section. It's not urgent right now. He was like, you still have time, but with how the way things are looking, it just seems like the safest option for you and for the baby. Because at this moment, I was still 4 centimeters dilated. I did not dilate, not even 1 extra centimeter all this time. This is already towards the evening. They're like, you're not dilating. Tommy's heart rate just keeps dropping. You can wait if you want, but the safest thing would be a C-section. That way it's not like rushed. We can take our time. It's like a smooth process. The moment they mentioned C-section, I was so like taken back, you guys, because I did not expect that. I didn't even pack enough clothes in my hospital bag to recover from a C-section. Like that did not cross my mind, not one bit. And I just was so like, that just sucked because I just know I want more kids, and I just know with the C-section, like you are at risk for, you know, it's just like, it's a major surgery. Like they're cutting into your uterus. They're cutting into so many layers in your abdomen. Like it's intensive recovery after, and plus like you have a baby to take care of after, and plus like what about your other pregnancies? Is that gonna affect, you know? So I just had to think about everything. Like I got kind of sad, I'm not gonna lie, and I was like, no, like I was like, we cannot do this C-section. I was like trying to do everything I could. Like we did all the labor exercises, everything. And And I was like talking to the nurse, and I was like have we tried everything? Like, did I try everything? She brought me so much peace, because she was like, Tanya, like, you did everything you could, you know, like, you did everything you could. We do not want you to have a C-section. That's like our last resort. But some babies just prefer to be birthed. Some babies just prefer a C-section. And she was like, and she reassured me that the surgeon is so good at what he does. Like, I was in really good hands, and she just brought me so much peace. And I talked with my husband, and we prayed about it, and we let our family members know too that, hey, we were most likely gonna proceed with a C-section. This was already like 12 midnight. So this was like the day after Valentine's Day, technically. It's been 24 hours of labor. So I was exhausted. I was like, honestly, all I want to do is take a nap. But here I am talking about going into major surgery right now. Like, I was exhausted, but at the same time, I just wanted my baby to be born healthy. I wanted to be healthy, and it's really that the C-section made the most sense. We proceeded with a C-section, so we were on the wait list. Now, as we were on the wait list, I still was so determined to maybe try to get myself dilated. What's really interesting is even with the epidural, after each contraction, I started getting really nauseous, and I actually ended up throwing up in labor. I think I threw up like 5 times. Like, I had like the barf bag and everything, and I would just get like this wave of nausea. And I was like, man, why do I feel so nauseous? She's like, you're having a really big contraction right now. And it was just like really, really, oh my gosh, throwing up in labor is literally, oh, I hate throwing up. Anyways, so that was that. So I was in labor for 24 hours, still 4 centimeters dilated, and we were just on the wait list for the C-section. And at this moment, I was like, you know what? Okay, like, let's just do this, you know? They gave me more medicine through my epidural, so I was really, 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 really numb, to the point where I literally was kind of scared. I remember being in the OR room. I was like laying like this, I think, and I had the shakes. My teeth were so chatty. I literally thought like my jaw and everything, from how tense I felt, like I was so shaky. I thought I was gonna be so sore the next day. It just would not stop. And I remember laying on the chair. They already started the surgery, and I was like, I'm gonna throw up right now. I felt so nauseous and sick to my stomach. I was like, I'm gonna throw up right now. Can you please turn me to the side, because I feel like I'm gonna choke. And the doctor was like, we cannot turn you over because we just started the procedure, but if you feel like you need to throw up, just turn your head to the side and just do it. I held it in so much because I was terrified of throwing up, and I literally thought I was gonna choke and die because you're so numb. And this was already 3 in the morning on February 15th. And I was like so exhausted from the medication. It was making me really, really tired. And it made me feel like my eyes were 10 pounds each. It just feels like you have weighted like sandbags on your eye, and you're trying to stay awake. This is already after 24 hours of labor. You're exhausted. You didn't sleep. And now all of a sudden you're like in the surgery, and now they're like, stay awake, mom. Like, we need you. You're about to, you don't want to miss the birth of your baby. That's like the only thing that kept me up, because I was exhausted. It actually takes a minute for them to like cut through all the layers and make it look like, you know, cut through all the layers for them to get to the baby. It is not a fast thing. Well, maybe it's because like my C-section wasn't as, like, it wasn't like a straight up emergency. I remember before going in, I was like telling the doctor, I was like, hey, can you make sure that you make me look snatched? Like, I threw it out as a joke. And he was like, what does that mean? And then all the nurses were like a cute little clean line, like just snatched, like, you know. We just tried to be funny, like have a lighthearted like conversations around this time, like, you know, because it can be sad, it can be, and it is traumatizing for a lot of people, but I just tried to be as positive as possible. They performed the C-section. Thankfully everything went smooth. I remember Tommy, they took him out. I was still really, really out of it, which was really sad because I obviously wasn't as present as somebody who wouldn't have a C-section. I feel like I was just, I at that moment I just felt really disconnected from my baby, and just like the whole atmosphere. I just was very disconnected from everything. I just really wanted to sleep. But I remember him crying. He was 6 pounds and 14 ounces, so just under 7 pounds. And I remember they swaddled him up and then they like put his face like near my cheek, and I just remember having my eyes closed and I was just like, oh, like I literally was just like indulging in like just his like feel. Like I was like, I couldn't believe that that was my baby. Like it was a really, really sweet moment. And it does take a minute for them to stitch you back up, so my husband held Tommy for the longest time, and then I think the nurses held them too. They took a lot of pictures, which was really nice because I obviously wanted to get, you know, like some footage of the birth. So we go back into the room, the sun is already rising, it's morning time. Tommy latches on right away. There was no tongue tie, no lip tie, no issues with breastfeeding. Like it was so smooth. It is a bit painful at first, I'm not gonna lie. I just like loved holding him so much. Like I just remember in the hospital, like even having him be in the bassinet, I did not like it. I just wanted to hold him 24/7. I was obsessed with his littleness, and he was such a calm baby, you guys. Like so calm, so chill. Like I literally don't even know how to describe it. Like he was the chillest newborn, chillest babe. Even to this day, he's still such a chill kid. I loved having my nurses there because they helped me and reassured me so much about like what's going on, what to expect with your baby, what to expect with breastfeeding, any questions that I had. I remember Tommy had a lot of amniotic fluid up his nose, so like he would sometimes choke on it, and so they would like suction out his nose for me. I was still really scared. Like I just felt like he was so fragile, so I just like trusted the nurses a lot to do a lot of the things. But even like with diaper changes, they'll like come in and they'll like change his diaper for me. And I don't know if it's because like I had a C-section, so they were like extra like on hands, but it's so nice. Thank God for the night nurses and for the day nurses. Like they were amazing. And I truly believe that your doctors or like whoever you have as your birthing team will make or break your birthing experience. Like I had a C-section and I still feel like my whole experience was so good. Like I miss it. Like I can actually say that I was still not traumatized from my experience, and I'm just feeling so thankful for just the whole experience. And I am just so thankful for a healthy, happy child, and that I'm feeling good, and just like, you know, there wasn't any other complications. So that was pretty much my whole birth experience. We stayed in the hospital for 3 nights, and I had my sister visit. Like it was still such a sweet time, and I just loved being in the whole like newborn bubble. Postpartum for me, like I was bleeding for 6 weeks. Like it was a little rough like the first couple days, but I fully just was on bed rest for a long time. And then like the whole like cleaning, cooking, like I was like, everything else can wait. I really prioritized my health and just spending time with me and Tommy, like just really getting to know him and not putting any other pressure on myself. And that is why like I haven't been working. I literally didn't prioritize anything else. I was like, I'm in this season, I'm not in a rush to go anywhere. Like I'm so thankful that I'm able to be a stay-at-home mom, so I don't have to worry about all the other things, and I can just focus on taking care of Tommy. I wouldn't say I had postpartum depression, but I did have some baby blues around the 3-month mark. I just got really tired of the repetitive day-to-day life because I was at home a lot. Like I felt the safest being at home with a baby, and all his things were there. If I needed anything, like it was at home. So I stayed home a lot, and I did end up exclusively breastfeeding, so it was on me to feed him 24/7, day and night. Like it was always on me. So it was this repetitive like schedule, this routine that I just got like super overwhelmed by. And I think I got a little bit sad around that time because I was like, man, like is my life ever gonna get easier? Because it was a lot. And I would have a lot of anxiety like leaving him. Like I just did not like being away from him at all. I was really just like aware of where he was at all times, and I feel like I am still like that, but I feel like the anxiety part of it went away. It does get better, you guys, it does. And motherhood is such a blessing and an honor, and I truly love it so much. Like I love Tommy so much. I'm obsessed with him. So yeah, we still exclusively breastfeed. He is not into solids as much right now, which is totally fine, but I know he will get, you know, get the hang of food eventually. My C-section scar is healing really nicely. It's still a little numb in some areas. See the light?
We did a little bit of everything, I think.
Oh, my love. But truly, you guys, like all my friends that are pregnant or like having a baby, I am so excited. I am so excited for all you first-time moms out there. There is so much to look forward to, and don't be afraid, you know, just take it one day at a time. Like that is the one thing for me that got me going, was just survive the day. Do whatever it takes to survive the day. If you are in the thick of the newborn stage, you know, just take it one day at a time. I remember the early days, I would dread the nighttime. The sun would go down and then I would be like, oh man, like what is tonight gonna bring? There's something about the night, you know, it gets you a little bit anxious. But then like I would see the sunrise the next morning, that following day, and I'm just like, oh, we made it, another day. I think that is it. I'm gonna get going. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know it was a lot like that I talked about, but it feels so good to finally share my story. I loved listening to labor and birth stories, so I'm glad I was able to share mine, even though it's been a minute since I gave birth. But all right, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Hopefully I'm gonna get back to filming because I actually really miss it. Yeah, so okay, bye, love you. Mwah.